All right, roll call. At-large Cummins.
Here.
At-large Poston.
Here.
Ward 1 Walker.
Here.
Ward 2 Helm.
Here.
Ward 3 Johnston.
Here.
Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right, next item is approval of the agenda.
Motion.
Motion by Cummins, seconded by Helm.
Cummins.
Yes.
Poston.
Yes.
Walker.
Yes.
Helm.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
All right, next item is public hearing. Public hearing regarding City of Tipton's proposed property tax levy for fiscal year 26 budget. Melissa?
Yes.
As of close of business today, there haven't been any, you need to open it.
Yeah, sorry. Need a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion. Second.
Motion by Helm, seconded by Johnston.
Poston.
Yes.
Walker.
Yes.
Helm.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Cummins.
As
Now
of
go
close of business today, there hasn't been any comments on the public hearing. Just to give a general overview though of what was published in the paper, it had the 3 columns on it. That first column represented what our current property tax levies were. That is a reminder that our current tax rate was the 16.365. That middle column used our new taxable valuation for FY 25-26, but then it kept all the other tax levies the same as the current tax year. And then the third column is our proposed 25-26 property tax levy amounts. The increases to those for the liability, property and self-insurance, the FICA and IFRS and the employee benefits was due to the increased costs for those as well as our operating expenses. The proposed tax rate though is decreasing to 15.59%. That was due largely to the House File 718 that we talked about at the budget workshop, where our taxable growth was reduced because it fell into that 3% category. So it brought us down below the 810 consolidated general fund levy. Looking at the line that is titled the city regular total property tax, you'll see that we received an additional 1.69% in property taxes from the prior year. And then on the bottom of the page, there's 2 examples that the state was showing. One is based off of the residential property taxes and one is based off of the commercial property taxes. Those examples are based off of a residential home that is valued at 110%. So it's showing that the increased valuation went up 10% for both the residential and commercial. The commercial is based off of 330. So it is just an estimate, but it kind of gives them an idea of what the percentage change could be for them. Are there any questions about this form? Or any questions in the audience?
No questions? Okay. Okay. There's no questions? No questions from the public? Okay. Need a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Poston, seconded by Cummins.
Poston.
Yes.
Walker.
Yes.
Helm.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Cummins.
Yes.
Okay. And then lastly for this meeting is adjournment of the meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion by Poston, seconded by Helm.
Walker.
Yes.
Helm.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Cummins.
Yes.
Poston.
Yes.
Okay, meeting adjourned.
That doesn't mean leave.
Yeah. Nobody run out. Next meeting. Oh, that's right. We do.
So the state guideline is
Yeah.
that it needs to be 2 separate and distinct meetings. We do need to wait to start the next meeting until 5:45, just to make them clear that they are 2 distinct meetings. I apologize about that.
Anybody Anybody bring any cookies or anything?
This is a recent event that the state started making cities do.
Well, then we have to start doing
You have to have an
the county
annual
meetings
separate
when we get the
meeting
county
from a
budget hearings.
regular council meeting to consider those aspects of the budget.
3 minutes, yeah.
So we weren't really expecting any input from the public, but there's always a chance. And since they require it to be 2 separate meetings, although it's just a short few minutes, they have to be distinctively separate.
Is it possible, did you have a printout of that, of what went out?
Yeah, I can.
No, John just was like, "Hey, the phone's about 69. But he added a circuit switcher onto the back of that. I'm like,
I didn't wipe. I mean, how would you think you're gonna get our attention?
I wonder if Ryan wants me to wait.
I guess so.
If there's anybody who wants to address the council about their, to do that.
That's why I said the search.
Yeah, then afterwards, you.
Well,
Well, the one.
Yeah, I would. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I had to keep it.
Sure, he threw that in afterwards.
Oh, I know.
You heard that too?
Hey, yeah, right? You didn't get.
Yeah,
They said, she said so many things.
I don't know, we had about.
It's after the police stuff.
Electricity.
I'm usually last. He comes before. He- Electric.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
So,
We're gonna switch so that people want to talk.
Yeah, we'll do it when we get down to the.
And I'm meeting very fast because
Mhm.
I know the date.
so
Although, their homework is discussion because.
Is he here?
We'll be back next week.
that. We've heard a lot of stuff. Not really. Nothing, but.
He's not?
And we'll make it. Right now, I can, just, you know.
Yeah, so they're going. We'll make it separate. But no. And then and then you go out.
It's.
It's different.
Yes.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mayor, next time we do this, let's put some hot.
Should have. Could have sent Terry on together. Go ahead and ask. Let me know how that goes for you. You'll have a much better response to that if you ask.
Popcorn?
Mayor, depends on.
You're a much nicer person. You're a much nicer person than me.
I was thinking,
Love the picture.
while
Love the
negotiating,
picture.
or something like that.
I told him I love the picture.
He probably doesn't know what picture you're talking about because he doesn't know I took it, Amy.
It's like, what picture? Nothing.
So.
Huh?
No. Yes. How's that? No way. No way. So we had a.
He was his cousin. He's so sweet.
Back up and running.
I don't know how it could not. Did somebody laugh?
Oh, they left.
Oh, they left. Not scared of you.
It's bad, but like, right now it's great, but I think before it's not gonna be so great. I was like, oh, 1 o'clock in the morning. I was like,
So they're not gonna be sworn in.
yeah, so she has.
You?
Yes.
But yeah, they.
You going to Ireland again this year? I'm sorry. It depends on where I'm.
I know.
Although it is Jersey, so.
What? Oh, you're looking at me.
No.
Oh.
What? When did I make this decision?
I'll feel them off. Feelings are.
I was debating.
There you go. You've been told
I was,
or instructed.
I was voluntold.
Well, there you go.
Actually, yeah, pretty good.
I agree.
I don't have any- I don't have any-
Gotcha. Yeah, but we're gonna need somebody to work one sooner than later, probably.
I gotta look at it. Only can't say that's all. What it's into.
It's pretty much south of town. So.
Start number.
It's kind of it's a very odd
Yeah.
outline. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be a matter of, more like really. Just into that spot.
I know. He's not listening to me.
Goddamn. Not afraid to use it.
All right.
Meeting number 2.
Yep, meeting number 2. We are going to go ahead and call the meeting to order at 5:45. Roll call, at-large Cummins.
Here.
At-large Poston. Ward 1 Walker.
Present.
Ward 2 Helm.
Here.
Ward 3 Johnston.
Yes.
Unless there are objections, we will bypass the Pledge of Allegiance for this meeting since we did it at the previous meeting. Any objection to that? Okay. Would you
But at the previous meeting, the way
The previous
that was,
meeting?
you know, it was a long
15
ago.
minutes ago. Yeah, I know. All right, approval of the agenda.
Motion.
Motion by Johnston, seconded by Cummins.
Helm,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Cummins, Bastian,
Yes.
Welker.
Yes.
All right, moving on then to the communications portion of the meeting. If there's anyone present who would like to address the council for issues outside of the RFPs, property RFPs, we will hold those comments and you can address the council when we get to that agenda item. Because if there's anybody else who wants to address the council for any other reasons, now would be the time, Larry.
Just a quick update. It's spring, and once again, Tipton will be planting trees. Our plan is to plant up to 50 trees on Earth Day, April 22nd. So we're always looking for people to volunteer to help plant trees. So if you have a little time that day and like to get involved in it, watch the paper. We'll have the information in there for it. And so hope everybody will come out, and we've done this for about 5 years, 6 years, maybe something like that, right, Steve? 5 or 6 years it's been. At least once a year, if not twice a year, we've been planting trees, and we're starting to cover Tipton pretty well. One other thing, I noticed the solar panels weren't on the agenda tonight, so I hope you consider getting them back on the agenda as soon as possible and get that project approved so we can move forward.
Thanks, Larry. Is there anyone else? No? Okay, we will move on to the consent agenda. These are routine items that will be enacted by one motion without separate discussion unless a council member requests separate consideration. Approval of the council meeting minutes, March 10th, 2025. Approval of the airport minutes, February 18th, 2025. Approval of the library minutes from February 12th, 2025. Approval of the library director's report for February of 2025. Approval of the development director's report for January and February 2025. Approval of the Tipton Police Department 2024 annual report. Approval of the 69 kV circuit switcher. Approval of the North Avenue overhead conversion. Approval of pay application number 22, replace Highway 38 South Street to Iowa 130 to Triple B Construction for $11,130. Approval of the Tipton Revitalization Incentive Program request for Murray Minty at 42 Spruce Street. Approval of the Tipton Chamber of Commerce kickoff to summer event, the west side of the parking lot north of the courthouse. Setup starting at 2 p.m. Friday, June 13th, 4 p.m. tonight. The event is 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. And then approval of the James Kennedy Family Aquatic Center software upgrade with DaySmart, and approval of the claims register, which includes claims paid under the current purchase policy. Any of those items need to be pulled out for separate discussion?
Motion to approve. Second.
Okay. Motion by Bastian, seconded by Welker.
Johnston,
Yes.
Cummins,
Yes.
Bastian,
Yes.
Welker,
Yes.
Helm.
Yes.
All right, moving on to city business. First item is resolution number 032425A. Resolution setting the time and place for a public hearing for the purpose of soliciting written and oral comments to the city's proposed fiscal year 25-26 budget.
This public hearing will be for the entire budget as a whole. It'll be at your next meeting on April 7th at 5:30.
Is there a motion?
Motion. Second.
Motion by Welker, seconded by Johnston.
Cummins.
Yes.
Bastian,
Yes.
Welker,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Okay, next item is resolution number 032425B. Resolution accepting the federal single source audit report for fiscal year 23-24.
This is something that we haven't done since my time here, and we haven't done with Clifton, Larson, and Allen haven't done one for us either. So it's been a while. We had to have a federal single source audit done because we received and spent more than $750,000 in federal funds this last fiscal year. So they performed that audit for us, and it was fine. The reason we need to do this is if we wouldn't comply with this, we would not be eligible for any future federal grants. So it's definitely something that we needed to do, and we completed.
Is there a motion?
Motion to accept.
Second.
Motion by Helm, seconded by Johnston.
Bastian,
Yes.
Welker,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Cummins.
Okay, next is resolution number 032425C, is the resolution accepting the fiscal year 23-24 annual audit.
One thing I didn't mention prior is I had sent the full audits out to everyone. They're also available at City Hall and at the library if anyone would like to view them in their entirety. But this audit was done as well. There were 3 findings in this audit. One is the same finding that we have every year where we don't have our own internal auditors on staff. We hire Tipton Larson. So that comes up as a finding. And then we had one where we didn't do a budget amendment in our economic development funds in time before we spent that. That's a hard one to do. Sometimes you can't wait to process a budget amendment. A budget amendment is very similar to a budget itself, where there is a timing aspect of that, and vendors don't want to wait that sometimes 2-month time period to be paid. So that's why we have that finding. And the other finding was we have an aquatic center campaign fund that has been in a deficit. It's been there since my time here as well. And so they just want us to get that sorted out and come to a resolution so we can clear that off of our reports. So those were the findings for that. Any questions?
Is there a motion?
Motion. Second.
Motion by Poston, seconded by Helm. Sorry, Welker.
Close enough.
Walker,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Cummins, Poston,
Yes.
All right, resolution number 032425D, resolution approving low responsive bid and authorizing execution of contract for Matthews Memorial Airport Rehabilitate Apron and Runway 1129 Improvement Project.
Yes, we had 6 bidders. The engineer's estimate was just short of $377,000. The low bid by hire was for $208,946.45, so significantly under the engineer's estimate. Again, in the end, after the city pays for the cost of this project, the FAA will reimburse 95%, so our final cost in the end is 5%. So it was a good project to have. It was a good bid that came in, and we were able to use our annual allocation without having to pass it off to another airport due to a lack of having a project.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion by Welker, seconded by Helm.
Helm,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Cummins,
Yes.
Poston,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Okay, resolution number 032425E, resolution approving the FAA grant application for construction for Matthews Memorial Airport Rehabilitate Apron and Runway 1129 Improvement Project.
Yeah, the FAA does this differently than just about everybody. You do the project first and then you apply for the grant after. Now, if the FAA staff tells you you're going to get it, you get it, but it's just this odd way of doing the grant last that is just uncommon. But again, in the end, the grant covers all but our 5%.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Johnston, seconded by Welker.
Johnston,
Yes.
Cummins, Poston,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
All right, next item is discussion and possible action concerning settlement and release agreement between Robert Byrd and the city of Tipton.
Yeah, this is one that we had a recent closed session on, having to do with the repair job in the alley that was disputed between the city and Robert Byrd. The cost at the time, the full cost was $6,292.80. Robert Byrd will cover $4,000 of that. The city will cover the rest, which is according to the guidance you gave Doug Herman
Right.
during your closed session.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Welker, seconded by Helm.
Cummins,
Yes.
Poston,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
All right. Last item under city business is discussion and possible action to select the most favored proposal for each of 4 city-owned residential lots, with each proposal being the subject of a public hearing and final decision at the council meeting on April 7th.
Yeah, you already set the public hearing at one of your February meetings, and we have a public hearing notice ready to go. The only thing we have to fill in is for each lot location. If you have a preferred proposal, we could fill those in and then they would run with the public hearing notice. And so when you have the public hearing on this on April 7th, the public can, or perhaps other people who made proposals, as an example, could make comments if they'd like about the proposed selection coming out of tonight. And then at that meeting, when you come out of that public hearing, then you can make your action final. Then in the end, though, the selection would be final. But from there, the city attorney would draw a purchase agreement with each winning proposal maker that would try to set specifics into the purchase agreement, such as their proposed purchase amount for the lot, what they plan to do, the timeline for doing it, and then there would be other parts that would be typical to a purchase agreement. But tonight is mainly to consider the various proposals that you received on the 4 lots and see if you're at a place where you can come up with 4 proposals that you favor the most.
Is there anyone present that would like to address the council before we go ahead? Yeah, you can come up to the podium. Yeah, just state your name and address and which property that you're.
I bid all 4 of the lots. My name is Casey Smith and I own Mead Construction. The reason I bid the amount that I did is because of the cost to demolish, fill, and prepare the lots to be built on, which could roughly be anywhere between like 12 and 20,000. And the amount of the lots that are being sold in the area is approximately between 20 to 25,000. So that's how I came up with that number. The prints that I included in my bids, I felt like they were affordable for the areas that we would be building. I recently sold a property that I redid, and it sold for about $145,000. So I had purchased it and remodeled it and sold it. Going off of the comparative market analysis for the areas, I felt like staying within the 200,000 range to sell in those areas was reasonable. And so the houses that I picked, the plans that I put in my packet, were similar to the square footage of the houses in those areas. And so trying to keep the houses affordable, but still bring up the value of the houses in the area, and then also bring in tax money for the city. That's kind of how I came up with the bids that I did. So I just kind of wanted to explain, so.
Thank you.
Casey, could I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You put in proposals for all 4.
Correct.
Do you see them all equally the same, or do you have an order where you favor one more than the other?
I think, I don't know that I would favor any, but I think maybe the addresses on, I think it's Locust and 9th, I'd probably be the most interested in those 2. But I would obviously be interested in any of them or all of them.
Okay.
And that's only because I think that the lots were bigger, they were on a corner, so to me, they would probably be easier to sell. And maybe be able to offer like a 2-story or a basement, because might be able to bring the prices up a little bit on those because of the lots and the size of the lots and where they're located.
Thanks.
Yep.
Does anybody have any questions for Casey? Okay.
We bid on 801 Locust Street.
Tell us who you are. Sorry.
Colton and Cassidy.
Okay.
And we bid what we thought would be a fair price with tear down and fill dirt and everything else. Our house plans are still to be decided, so we want to build a single family ranch style home. And we picked out the best place that we thought would suit us because we're trying to grow and potentially start a family here, and this is where we would like to stay with the school. We currently live in Iowa City, and we're trying to look for a quieter neighborhood. What's the name?
You covered
But
it.
we would like to thank you guys for the opportunity, regardless. It was an experience for sure. It's the first time we've ever bid on a place and a property, so we're excited. A little nervous, but we appreciate, the opportunity for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Well, and I suppose if there are questions that the council had, maybe about specific proposals that you saw that you might want to address to those that are here, you could do that too. I guess just as a reminder, the way that this was meant to be set up was it is supposed to be looked at, or hopefully looked at, as what's the best value for the city, for the public here. It isn't necessarily what somebody is offering to pay for the lot. It's what they propose to do in its totality. So somebody may have, I think there were some that were at $1. But if the council sees what they plan to do as more meaningful than just that alone, then the council is able to look at the total proposal, not just one single aspect of it.
Can I just add something really quickly? I do think that it is pretty meaningful to give a family an opportunity to purchase a piece of land for themselves, to be able to expand their family and to build a home for themselves and I do understand people that own businesses and they're builders and whatnot. I do understand everybody works for a living and they're, looking to better the community, but to give a family an opportunity to purchase a piece of land at a lower price than what they would normally have to pay to help them get into a home that's their own, I think that's pretty meaningful as well. So I'm excited for this family over here if they're chosen for the property, so.
Anybody else? Okay. Then let's, we'll just go one property at a time. Start with 54 Walnut Street. Did everybody had an opportunity to look at them, or do you want me to summarize? Summarize? Okay. So looking at 54 Walnut Street, and for those of you, correct me if I have this wrong, it looks like Menti Construction had a bid of $4,000 with a building, with a plan to build within 18 to 36 months, depending on how many, if any, of the properties they are awarded. Obviously, they can't build 4 properties on or 4 houses on 4 properties at a time. So, no, it's 3,000 on 105 Mulberry.
Which one are you looking at, Walnut?
Looking at Walnut. Did I miss it or did I do it wrong?
54 Walnut.
This is what I have.
Oh, did I do it wrong? Okay. So 3,000, sorry, my bad. With housing purchase prices roughly in the $230,000 range. Mead Construction had a bid of $1 for the property with housing cost at the 160 to 185,000 range. I didn't write down a timeline, so sorry if I'm not sure if there's a timeline for that or not. Lynch's had a bid of 4,000 for the property, but there was no indication on a building plan. And then Bedrock had a bid of $5 with a building plan of approximately 24 months, depending on the real estate market. Just to remind the council, per our previous council discussion, when we proposed the RFP language states that preference will be given to those with the building with an intent to build or a building plan. So just something to keep in mind as you're reviewing those.
And then when I was reading the Bedrock one, correct me if you guys think that I read it wrong or if there's somebody out there that can tell me. In the overview somewhere, sorry, my eyes, it says somewhere that they would rebuild or they'll sell lots for
After 2 years.
construction. So I'm not sure. I read it as though they may just sell the lot empty. So that's.
Is that correct? Yes. Yeah.
Can I add something for
Yeah.
Mead Construction? So, because just to clarify the timeline, it depends on how many lots, but we would probably do 1 or 2 at the same time and probably looking at like 6 to 8 months, just to be realistic on time.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
So, yes.
Does council have any questions for any of the? Talking amongst themselves, we'll just.
So there's only 4 bids on this lot?
Correct.
Did it say, for Menti, did it say what his thought was for how much he's selling the home for?
230, approximately 230.
Okay.
That would be where I lean, is Menti Construction.
Did Mead offer to build a house on that lot too?
Yes,
Mead was too?
Yeah. It's right after Mentee's. I think it's the second one. Yeah.
What was Mead's offer?
$1 with 6 to 8 months. She just said building. Did you find it?
Oh, Mentee's.
It's after Mentee's. Yeah. There. That's Casey's there.
Okay, okay. Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure. Casey,
You were saying how long a time frame as far as building again, 6 to 8 months after tear down?
Yeah.
That's for house 1, whatever that is.
54 Walnut.
54 Walnut.
Yeah, the goal, whether one developer, just to use that word generally, whether a developer is selected for 1 lot or all 4, the goal would be to put in writing timeline. So, because if it's written in a way as that leaves it open-ended, then the council or the public can't really put their finger on what the public is getting. So, like in your case, I think you said 2 to 3 years, maybe? If the council selected yours for the sake of the agreement, along with needing the demo timeline, they would want to put in a definite timeline, whether it's, they agree 2 years, whether it's anything else, they want to make it more concrete than, maybe.
A house on that price point might sit in that neighborhood for a while.
Yeah, you're right.
We had
You're
that problem when we sold the house on Walnut. It was,
270.
we could ask more for the house, but the appraisal, we could not get the appraisal because the surrounding houses in that area made it difficult. So then you limit your buyers because they have to come up with the extra
Yeah,
cash
you're
if
right.
they're gonna use the bank. So that was the problem that we had.
That makes sense.
And that's why I was like trying to stay within that range.
Yeah.
230.
230.
230 is the,
That's what I
Yeah.
bought, was 230. I mean, yeah, those were the two that I was leaning towards, actually, was Menti and Mead.
meant to be.
So, does anybody else have?
That's where I was at right now, is meant they meet to myself.
Obviously, part of, why I lean towards Menti, of course, is because they are local.
Yes.
That's, of course, one of the driving factors though,
Mhm.
for me. But,
Well, and the offer on the property itself too.
what?
I said the offer on the property itself too.
Yeah.
We gotta
yes,
remember that we have a lot of expenses that we have
It is, correct.
accrued going through this
I
process
mean,
that, and it's public property. So we have to think about, the public and the taxpayers. I mean, this is their money coming back sort of around.
This is just a suggestion, you don't have to follow it by any means. You may want to go through the 4 properties and kind of hold to yourself a top 2, unless there's one that really stands out. And then when you're done with all 4, maybe come back in case you want to give more than one developer an opportunity.
I wish we had more young couples that want to come in town here, it would make the decision a lot easier.
Most of that.
Is that what the council wants to do, is to go through and discuss all 4 properties and then circle back around? Or do you want to just do one at a time and?
I'm good with that. I mean, nobody else is saying anything.
I was with you on both Mead and Menti on 54 Walnut. Menti being local.
Okay.
And, it's only $1 bid, but still, when you're talking the amount of money getting involved, $1 and $3,000 is not.
Menti was 3,000.
Menti was
Mead is
three.
$1.
Oh, Committee was $1, I'm sorry. I was
Yes.
confused.
Sure.
All right, well, Menti.
Thoughts from the rest of you?
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
So I know I'm not from Tipton, but I live over on 290th, so I'm not that far from town. I'm not Indian over there, so like 8 minutes. But the more that is offered on the lot, the more you have to try to make back in your price. So that's how you keep the prices down. So I'm just kind of like pointing that out, that was kind of my determining factor on like bidding on the lot, is trying to make the house affordable.
Yeah.
An explanation.
Yeah, no, you can see that.
I know. All right, tell me what you guys want to do. You guys have to vote on this, not me. So how do you want to proceed with this
I say just go one by one then.
One by one? Okay, all right. So for 54 Walnut Street, I've got Cummins and Home with a vote for Menti. Thoughts from the rest of you?
I'll just throw it out there that 105 Mulberry, I have the same. Just so you know, I have the same top two. Then I start to wait.
I guess I have a question. So Manny gets awarded this property. He's building a new house to turn around and sell then, right?
Mhm.
Okay, I guess on that part of it, I don't know a lot of people that can turn around and that aren't in the community that can buy a $250,000 house. A lot of the focus is on, like with these young kids here, they plan on building a house and living here, where the contractors are coming in, building the house. I mean, I own an apartment that's empty right now that I can't rent out because the price of my apartment's too high, but in order for me to break even, that's where I need to be. And I put a lot of time and money into this place, but I guess that's the part I struggle with is when you have contractors that come in and build a house, how many people are really gonna be able to afford it? I mean, I understand where you guys are coming from on trying to get people to come, and I'm all for that, but at those prices, when you're putting up a new facility like that, unless you're gonna be living in it, well, them condos that are at the end of town, beautiful, absolutely beautiful place. They're not, I mean, and they're struggling to get rid of those.
Coming up on a year.
So I guess that's, I don't know, a lot of focus on, I guess the only one that I'm really on board with is these guys because they plan on building the house that they plan on living in, and it's not all about a profit.
Right now, Mike, the two that we're talking about, all we have are contractors.
Okay.
Yeah. If we had more couples like this, it would be very easy to go and make our decision.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah, not all of them have, yeah, and some, yeah.
Okay.
We can't just let them sit there, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
No,
Yes, I don't.
no, I bet.
Like, I appreciate what you had to say, and I think that's kind of the direction I'm leaning to, affordable housing.
Yeah.
In the neighborhood, in the market, kind of that part of town, I feel like that kind of 230 estimation, I think that's high. I think it's a high spot. I've seen a lot of really nice homes in town sitting empty right now, so people are trying to sell them. So I guess I'm leaning more towards Mead. It's my first look there.
Isn't like a construction up there at the high school, can't they build something? Shop class?
They can, they have the opportunity to bid, I guess. And this is what we got, so I mean, you know, the thing is, yeah, I agree, you can't go out and build a house, so expensive a house that it's not gonna sell in the neighborhood.
No.
That's a fact. So, I mean, that's what you gotta look at, if some of these contractors wanna go ahead and, try to build a house at the price and try to sell it, that's on them. I mean, but, I mean, our goal is, we want single families on these lots that people can live in. We don't want vacant lots. We got enough vacant lots in town.
Right.
I feel like she paid very close attention to that. I mean, she went in and looked at comparable houses in the neighborhoods. That says a lot.
I know what house the other house is on the corner down there on Walnut. The one you sold, or you redid it on the corner down there
On Walnut Street.
on Walnut, what?
Yeah.
Walnut.
Yeah, okay, that's what that is. Did a nice job on it.
We can see what mom and dad's house appraises for. You don't know.
Again, at the end of the day, we need to recoup our money
Mhm.
that we have into this. It's not about Sorry, not trying to be mean or anything, but everybody that's bid on them is in the industry. They're not out here just to give somebody something for nothing either. They're all wanting to make money, so you cut your own throat. You bid on this is what your proposal is. Here you go. I think all of us in the industry deal with that every day. And if somebody can tell me they don't, they're probably lying to me. So
You gotta look at some of these houses, that are for sale now, these existing houses. They're going for, they're 70, 80 years old, they're going for $180,000. If it was me and, I had a chance to have a new house for 220, maintenance free, everything's new, I know which one I'm going for.
Yep.
I live in an old house, I don't, it costs money. So that's what I'm going for.
New sales.
So my two would be the same.
I'm still the same.
Yep.
Okay.
Nobody came in.
Remind me where you're
Not-
No,
I mean,
Well,
mead empty, mead empty.
you want Mead Venti?
Yeah.
Okay.
For Walnut Street? Walnut, and the other. I agree.
Property tax income.
You on that one? George on that one also.
So Menti then Mead,
Dave?
or Mead then Menti.
No,
The builder does. What, do you think the builder's not gonna pay the property taxes and get it taken away?
That's true.
I'm just saying.
It's okay, I'm just, it just doesn't look good. Having a house, a big house in the neighborhood that's-
That's what I want. He wants to be the Menti.
Just me. That's not a very, at that price point, that's not a very big house. Nope. Just let you know that right now. That's probably a 13 to 1400 square feet.
1,400 square foot house probably.
What,
It'll sell quick,
Yes.
guaranteed.
Not where that, at 54 Walnut Street?
If it's a nice house, it'll sell.
Looks better than what it's there now. Okay.
Next.
Okay. Well, let's wrap this one up.
Okay.
Yeah, so I got how many for Menti? I got Abby and
Me.
Boston for Menti, right? And you? Yeah, okay, so we got 3 for Menti and 2 for Mead. Okay. Do we need a motion on each one of these individually, Brian, or just,
I think when you come back.
okay,
Do them all in one.
okay. All right, then let's move on to 105 Mulberry. So Menti had the same bid, 3,000, 230,000 roughly home, 18 to 36 months, depending on how many properties he was awarded. Yeah, 105 Mulberry. The RFP is in the same email as 54 went. Mead again at $1 a bid for the property, $160,000 to $185,000 home. Lynch's $4,000. No timeline noted. And then Bedrock was $5 for the property. Again, 24 months. Dependent on the real estate market and then potential selling of the lot. So same as 54 Walnut for all of them.
I had the same too.
Okay.
Same here. As before.
As before, okay.
You put a $160,000 house on there. Yeah, I'm looking at these right now. Yeah, so 160,000 people close. You said, was she back there?
Casey, yeah,
You
she's
said-
behind the podium.
You said after tear down, 6 to 8 months, you have something put. Okay. That's one.
This one will be an expensive tear down.
Uh-huh.
That's a 2-story and it's full. This will be an expensive tear down.
Mulberry?
A lot of tipping fees here.
Mulberry?
Yeah, it's full.
Of
Full of stuff. George Carlin.
You know, I'm looking at. I'm on board for meat on this one.
Okay.
I want to. They did a good job on the other one.
Okay. Now it'll be a party.
George, Jason, do you have a preference on 105 Mulberry? Or do you have a
I said the same too.
Menti and Mead? Okay.
Yes.
George?
Same.
Same as 54 Walnut or same as Jason? Because you were opposite. You were Mead and Menti on 54 Walnut.
Same as the first time.
Okay. Okay, so for 105 Mulberry, we have 3 for Mead and 2 for Menti. Okay, any other questions about 105 Mulberry before we move on? No? Okay, so next property then is 513 West 9th Street. This is the current apartment building-ish. So, Menti, same as before, 3,000, 250,000. He's got 250,000 for homes on that one. The others were 230, so that's a little bit of an increase there. Mead is $1. House price at 160 to 185. Lynch's has 6,000 for the property. Again, no building plan. Bedrock $5. Same building plan as the previous two. This one has an additional RDS construction bid $1 on this property with a 24-month hold on the lot. And if it's not sold within that time, he would build a single family dwelling.
Andrew Shoemaker, did you mention him?
RDS, yeah.
Oh,
Sorry, I said RDS.
I'm sorry. No, you're good.
I should have said Shoemaker. I just make an assumption everybody knows who RDS is.
I just thought we skipped one. I just didn't know.
Is a 2-year hold on the lot.
Yeah, 2-year hold on the lot. I think his intention is to sell the lot, but if it doesn't sell, he'll build a single family dwelling.
I just want to get a house on there.
While the council is considering this, I would like to mention that these are only the first 4. We have 9 or 10 more that aren't as ready to go as these were. And those would possibly range, depending on what Terry finds when he gets in, maybe more demo, but probably a lot of those will be rehabs. So it isn't necessarily over tonight when it comes to these properties if you have a continuing interest after this process.
Good point.
9 more. Yeah, it's the one that's falling down.
Yeah, it's one next to this empty lot.
Right.
Get that?
Well, no.
I said I refuse to say anymore.
She's not gonna be the first
Somebody else
person.
speaks up. Somebody else can have one.
But
I've got
you
one.
move the
I've
conversation
got
along.
an opinion, but somebody else can have one too. Obviously Menti is the local and higher bid with building a house again, but you do have Lynch in there with a higher monetary bid that shouldn't be overlooked.
Right. And I don't disagree with that. I think the point would be, there's no indication of a building plan.
That's correct.
That's
So
what I'm
we would leave it as an empty
That's
lot.
correct,
Yeah,
and that's the problem, because we have that already.
correct.
We
Correct.
did that already,
Correct.
and I was not a fan of that.
Correct. Agreed. Yeah. Well, and we clearly in the RFP stated too, that preference would be given to those
Yep.
with
Yep.
a building plan. So,
This is a much bigger lot too. This lot's 75 foot wide.
I-
By 142 foot deep. So, I
Nice.
mean, you can put a nice house on there.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say Minty
Okay.
for 9th Street.
That's where I'm at.
I know, I helped you.
Jason, George,
Yes.
Wendy? Okay. Jason, was that a yes for Menti, or if that was just a yes, you were answering me? Okay. All right, so all 5 for Menti for 9th Street. Okay, lastly is 801 Locust. This has quite a few. Menti with $4,500 for the lot, $250,000 home. Mead, $1 a lot, $160 to $185. Lynch's has $6,000 for the lot, but no building plan. Bedrock, $5 for the lot with the same 24-month as noted, pending real estate market. RDS has $1,500 with the same 24 months hold on the lot, and then would build a single family dwelling if the lot doesn't sell. And Nissen Builders has a bid of $10,000 for the lot with a home purchase price of $250,000. Lisa Fleming has a bid of $1,000 with the intention that to resell the lot. And then say your last name for me.
Van Tiger.
Ben Tiger, okay. I didn't want to completely butcher it. And Lauren,
For you to say.
have a
Just say Cassandra.
what? My iPad flipped off, so I couldn't remember what her first name was. A $4,000 bid for the lot with an intent to rebuild. As they mentioned earlier, that they are still working on their building plan, so there wasn't a final building plan that was submitted with their RFP, but
and that's a rebuild for yourselves.
Yeah. We already have tear down and everything with rentals and stuff in there as well.
It would, and
So tear down
The agreement would probably say that it would be owner occupied by you, just to make sure. That, and that is your intent, so we're on the same page.
Yep.
Now, you, if I understood this right, you can make financing for the demolition.
That'd be cash.
Oh, yeah,
And then,
but you need the time to make financing to do the actual house, is that accurate?
We haven't tried 100% for financing yet because we don't know 100% of where to purchase the property. But with the extra money that we'll have left over in the time within the year, we're gonna use that for down payment plus the property to get loaned, so. But no matter what, we do have an intention of it.
So you're thinking like a 12 to 24 month timeline? Is that, or 24?
Or tear down or?
No.
No, for rebuilding.
Yeah.
So I had Nissen as my number one. I did actually have Cassie and Colton in my top three before I even knew that it was for them.
In all honesty, I brought them into town here, so you know where I'm at. I mean, they're a young couple, they want to start off and build a house in town here. They're gonna have sweat equity involved. So the way I look at it, that, if we had a whole lot more of you, we wouldn't have all these discussions tonight. So you know where I'm at.
So sorry, Abby, your top pick was,
Well, I'm gonna waver on this now.
okay,
I gotta
think about it.
think. Yeah.
I think one other point we can mention is, whether it's owner occupied or a new home built for sale, single family, once the demolished house is off the tax roll, the new home that you build would qualify for our tax exemption program. So on a single family home, that would be zero, no property taxes on the new structure for 7 years.
Have you guys had thoughts about, if a remodel home comes up for an option? Have you thought about that? If that would be something that you would consider?
We have, but due to timelines, we didn't know for sure when that was
Gotcha.
gonna happen, but 801 is the lot we like the most. It's a corner lot,
It is nice.
nice houses around a nice neighborhood. I think that's probably the one that we're mainly gonna go for.
I can't argue with that.
If you find, or if they go, find the building plan, you would probably want to attach that to say this is what. Once you select something, that's where they go.
Okay,
Yeah, we have just not 100%.
Thoughts?
So,
okay,
I'll be down for that as well.
okay.
For them?
Yeah.
Jason?
Yeah.
Okay. Abby,
I'm sorry, what's that one? What's going on?
do you have a pick?
City council meeting, Abby. Just saying.
Number 2.
I was consulting, a question that I asked Melissa was, what happens if somebody does not follow through with the plan?
Yeah.
That was what I was talking about, so I apologize that I missed
No, that's okay.
the
I think,
conversation.
did you answer the question?
Or
I'll answer the question.
Yeah, I believe I got the answer, but yes.
Our direction to the city attorney at our one meeting was that it comes back to the city. So,
Yeah, Doug said that's gonna be in the contract.
It would have.
If they don't fulfill their obligation, they come back and lose the corporate money involved.
It'd have a limited power of attorney.
but you,
Executable immediately. Yeah.
I could,
You're not that sure.
I can switch my top two and I'll put them at the top and I'll put this in a second.
And that's all five for them, so, okay. Okay, so that puts all five of you for them. Say your last name again for me.
Ben Tiger.
The Tiger.
His is easier.
I know, I need to like,
You say Colton's
Why
last
don't you-
name. Come on.
I know, well, because they don't have the same last name, that's
Have
rude.
you thought about changing it at all?
I just did phonetics. I did phonetics, so I'll get it right the next time, I promise. Okay, all right.
Only 4 letters.
Okay, so that brings us
What does that?
back to, so we need a motion. I guess we'll just do one motion
For all 4.
for all 4, and I'll just read off. So our summary, so the motion would be 54 Walnut Street. There's 3 for Menti, 2 for Mead, so Menti would get that bid. 105 Mulberry has 3 for Mead and 2 for Menti. 513 West Ninth, all 5 votes were for Menti. And 801 Locust, all 5 votes were then Tiger and Lord.
Better.
Okay, I know, I'm like, she looked away, so I'm like, uh-oh, maybe I didn't say it right.
Make motion.
Okay,
I'll second it.
okay. Motion by Helm, seconded by Johnston.
Posturing,
Yes.
Welker,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Cummins.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, for everybody, especially the ones that the council is favoring, there'll be a public hearing at the meeting on April 7th, where the public can come in and say, yeah, I think the council made the right choices, or somebody could come in and say, well, what about this? Then after the public hearing, the council would probably make a motion to authorize purchase agreements to be drawn up. That would spell out the need to demolish, the timeline, the finding, all that stuff. So there's that to come, but that's how I'm thinking, or we're thinking that April 7th is gonna play out.
Okay. All right, then we will move on to the next portion of the council meeting is reports from the mayor, the council, city manager, and department heads. So we'll start with council members. Does council members have anything that you'd like to? No? Melissa? Nothing? Yep, I was like, Brian, are you on next, or are you waving at Brad?
I'll let Brad do it.
Okay.
The first time I haven't had a 911 call in the middle of a council meeting. So we've ran into some struggles with both of our vehicles. Our older rig, which is a 2010 4E series, and we glued the heads on, and it's been out at the spa for a month and a half now. And it's an unknown ETA when it comes back. Every time we call, it's in a few days, and then our newer rig, it's a 2015 or 2016 F-Series chassis. We're running into more emissions issues. Today I was out running calls, and when we're going downhill, we're hitting 75. When we're going uphill, we're hitting the 50s. It seems like it's kicking us pretty hard. The goal here, fairly soon, is to come to you guys with a request to purchase a new rig. I think we're in a position now where we're kind of seeking to get something to bridge the gap between a new rig and what's next. A new rig's going to take 24 months, best case scenario, to get in, and it's going to cost them around $400,000. I know we need to replace both rigs, and I know we don't have the money to do it. I talked to Brian about this because we've been trying to get in a loaner, which it seemed like everybody blew their engines across the region this past 2 months when I've spoken to different dealerships just to get one in. And so all of the loaners, demos, whatever you have it, are out. Everybody's interested in selling you a brand new vehicle on the lot at full price, but not exactly what you want. So I talked to Brian about today, and this is rather abrupt, and I don't like surprises. I proposed the idea of what if we get a used ambulance or consider a new ambulance, I'm sorry, a used ambulance to bridge the gap or to kind of stabilize the hemorrhaging that we're having right now on vehicles not working well for us. Somewhere between 60 and, I don't know, 110,000. Our goal would be get somewhere around 5 years, 6 years out of it. The other concern I have is if we get a new ambulance tomorrow, we're gonna wanna pay that off before we buy a new one. We've got to do something to stagger these more appropriately. There's not great options on the table in front of us.
Are they not fixable? I mean,
No, that's okay. So Blue's in the spa right now.
auto mechanics isn't my thing, so.
Not mine either. I tell everybody I'm a great paramedic, but I'm not an auto guy. With the E-Series chassis, the blue rig that we have, they're known for blowing heads, they're known for blowing head gaskets, and then usually you follow with the turbo somewhere in there. We did the turbo last year. This year we got the heads. I think this is our second set of head gaskets, maybe third set on blue. And we've done one turbo since I've been here. That's just the engine that we've been gifted with, but it seems like it's working okay.
Okay.
The yellow one, I don't know what Tipton got lucky about, but there's 10 VIN numbers from my understanding in the US that have an issue. We have one of them. And Brian Carney was telling me about that engine, and they're just known for being plagued with exhaust issues. We're just finding them. I don't know where the end side is. It's not worth getting rid of. We're gonna have to fix it and keep it moving, because they are such an expensive asset. But, 5 years ago, we didn't have the staffing to justify getting new rigs. I'll be honest about it. Now we've got, great staffing, and we're struggling to make calls because we don't have a reliable asset to get there. Am I describing that close enough, boss?
Yeah, and I think the question that you had for me was, is the council interested enough in the idea of getting a recent model year ambulance for this bridge that Brad is talking about? Are you interested enough for him to research that more?
So are we talking, we'll have 3, then we get rid of one?
So we would move up to 3. I found some up in Minnesota. I think they might be a good option. It'd be one of those where, say there's 20 up there. Clay and I are gonna go up there. I look at the rig and say, this is the style we're interested in. Clay goes in the room with the technicians and puts it up in the hoist and say, yep, this is a good option. That one gets us a 3rd rig so that when blue or yellow is broken, we have something to get there. And truthfully, that we can say to yellow, it's time to rest. Our newer rig, we're at 180,000 miles on it. It just wasn't expected. We gotta reduce the wear on those rigs. And then when we purchase a brand new rig, it's up to the council, and if they want to keep the rig based off of the value of it or hold it.
Who's working on it?
Which one?
The spa? Who's the spa?
The blue one is at, oh God, it's a place in Davenport. Courtesy Ford.
Okay.
Is that one. Place elected to go with that one because they do a lot of these. When you go to Davenport, you see medic rigs and muscatine rigs, and you say broken head gaskets, and they say, oh yeah, we'll take it. Yellow on Wednesdays going into O'Rourke.
And what engines do they have?
The current ones?
Yeah.
All right.
Are they both diesels? Are they both?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it a 6.0? Is it 6.4? Is it a 6.7? What do we got? How old are they?
You turn the key, they go. I think the blue is.
I honestly can't remember.
I don't know. Blue is the E-Series. It's a 350. It's what I grew up on.
How old is it?
2010.
2010?
Mm-hmm. 6.7.
When they came out with the 6
Okay.
If it's a 6 liter, you're not in good shape because that's a piece of crap motor.
So speaking of the next one.
Unless you bulletproof
What's up?
Unless you bulletproof it. That's true, you can. You can bulletproof the heads and you won't do it again. But it's not cheap.
But they don't do that anymore because of emissions.
Yeah.
Because you gotta delete the EGR.
Shh, don't say that.
You got this one, boss.
I'm just saying that.
The 2016, 2015 is the 6.6 liter. The next ambulance we buy will be a gasser for sure. I think since I've been here, we've done 3 emission systems on it. They're outrageous on how much they cost and the time that's spent in. Right now, we're dealing with the vehicle can't detect the amount of DEF fluid inside of it, so it's degrading on itself. It's awful. And it sounds like it's not just Tipton having that issue. Ambulances in general across the US, everybody's switching from the diesel line to the gasser line for that one exact issue.
They idle so much.
Mhm.
That's one of the biggest problems with the DPF is the idling times. The filters clog up and, you know, it's $1,000, $2,000 just to change out the DPF system, so. Sucks.
So Brett, is this just an FYI for now, or do you need some direction, or?
Well, this
Information
one,
doesn't hurt.
this one possibility is in northern Minnesota.
Yeah, it's northwest of St. Cloud. We found one. They had ambulances between 65K and up, and we were looking at things with 30,000 miles on them. Essentially, if you ram an ambulance or whatever, insurance is very likely to total them out because they don't want to work on them. These companies buy them. The one I was looking at today, they had to replace 2 headlights. It's a rig I don't love, but it's a rig that will take Tipton through.
Gas, diesel?
It's a gasser.
V10 or? Is it a Chevy or a Ford?
It's a Ford.
Okay, it's a V10 then. Buy a gas station. You'll need it.
We just want to go.
I guess, go ahead and pursue that, but it'd be money. Kind of look, see what you can find.
Yeah, but I'd say between you and Clay, find out as much as you can while here. And if the interest in it or is justified to make it a real possibility, then take a look in person then.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, we have to have an ambulance, so.
What's up?
I said we have to have a ambulance at minimum, right, that gets
George
you.
is coming with us. He knows engines.
Yeah.
No. I don't have a snowmobile.
Yeah.
No.
First of all, I wanted to let you guys be aware of the fact that on Wednesday, March 19th, we literally had a faucet running in my office from the roof. I have a video to show you if you need to see it, but I showed Brian and he said, go ahead and get hold of me. So we have moved that up now to March 31st. Mike Fogg has come, cleaned out the gutters as much as he can to help alleviate that between now and then. But it's going to come on the 31st, weather permitting, and taking care of that. Update for funding. And I'm not getting into politics, I'm just telling you the facts. Trump passed a executive order last Friday, which is going to get rid of the Institute of Museum and Library Science Services. Iowa receives $2,030,383 from that. What does that mean for Tipton? That means that our Iowa Shares program, our interlibrary loans, any of that is going to go bye-bye. If we get to do interlibrary loans, we'll probably have to charge patrons $5 for the postage. Another thing is a lot of summer reading programs are based on that. Iowa Reads, story kits, that sort of thing. Continuing ed for myself and the state library endorsement is gonna be gone. HooFi is a software that we use to keep track of all of our statistics. We will have to go back to pen and paper and do it all by hand. And we won't have any count of the Wi-Fi because they take care of that for us. This is a big one. We will not be able to provide bridges, the e-books or the audiobooks. That will be gone. That is going to be one of the biggest issues that everybody's going to have a fit about. Over everything else, we have a huge following of the e-bridges and audiobooks. That will be gone. We will not be able to fund that. I'm just letting you know that I don't know what the wave or what is going to come down on that. But if you want the statistics, I printed this off for you. You can look at. And then we're going to go to the state. No matter what Bobby Kaufman says, and you can put this in the paper, I don't care. The bills are not dead. He's telling everybody that these 2 bills concerning the library are dead. They are not dead. I will hand you these, and this will tell you what you can do to protect your library. Very simply put, one of the bills is going to take away more funding from the library. If we are associated with Iowa Library Association or the American Library Association, we will not be able to get the Enriched Iowa funds. That's a state. That's where they're going with that. The second, which we do get about $1,900 a year from that. The second bill is trying to get libraries to be exempt or to take away our exemption from the obscene laws. Had a meeting with the Cedar County libraries. What's that mean? Basically, if this law goes through, we will not be able to have children's library. It'll be an adult only. Because what will happen if somebody comes in and they consider obscene, they can sue us personally, and then it would get to the point where the city won't, or no one would cover us for insurance. Very important that you contact Bobby and tell him, under no circumstances, vote for this. They don't realize what's going to happen to the libraries. So the information's there. If you have any questions, you can stop by and ask, or stop in and see the library. But it's important. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, James. Yep.
I'm not asking for any money. I gave you guys a lot of information. And if you have questions about any of those programs that the guys or any of us are involved in, because there's a lot of acronyms, please talk to whoever's in charge of that, and they would be more than happy to give you a rundown on what they stand for. I tried to add that when they put their lists out. It's just a lot of information. So stop by anytime. They would be very happy to talk to you about any of it.
It was put together very nicely.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
What's going on over by the high school with the one-way? As far as just, are people still going the wrong way? And
We haven't had any calls for service there in a while. The comparisons from, if you look at 23 and 24, we had, sorry, for 23, there was, it's on here, 6 in 23 violations, and 24, there was 9. So 23 and 24, we've had 15. I think We did get it changed on one of the traffic apps. We're still trying to keep track of that, because it was giving out-of-town people the wrong direction. So, we still monitor it, but I think there's less.
They still do it in February at the concert. There was somebody that came the wrong way, but I think it was an out-of-town person. It was, in the evening, and
Definitely
it
went
was
down.
literally right at me, so.
Yeah, I haven't had any complaints either since
Good.
But I
December.
haven't heard anything.
It was a concert we were at the school. I think it was in
And
December.
Yeah,
that seems
that's
to
what-
be our biggest
Yeah.
issue.
But that's-
Their events.
And we have them posted, the events are all posted on our fridge, in the back room. They try to get to as many things as they can. So we're doing what we can. So yeah, stop by, call. We'd be more than happy to go over any of these with you guys.
Thanks. You?
Yeah, I got all kinds of stuff.
Great.
Sorry.
You get 35 seconds.
You had to ask him, didn't you?
Speak back. We're gonna start, or I'm gonna start going through the houses that are vacant, that the city owns, and start making a list and bring it back to council maybe next month. Or, well, that's next week. Maybe 2 months.
Later next month.
Yeah,
maybe.
so we have a list of what needs to be done. We have gotten a lot of things cleaned up in town here. We've had some garages taken down and so forth. It seems like I've been going to court about every week on Wednesday for these things. We've got court again this week for a garage and some other items. We are waiting on some citations to be issued. So things are
So there'll be
moving
more.
along.
Is what he's getting at.
It may not look like it sometimes, but usually in the spring, everybody sees all the junk and everything until all the grass grows up, so. But things are moving along and things are getting done, so. Hopefully this will be another good year where we can get a lot more of these blight areas taken care of in town. We don't want them. So, but we'll keep moving along.
And now that it's happening, I, get people that make suggestions of more. I'm like, yep,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I mean.
But I get it, yeah.
Yeah, we've got a couple of them this week. I'm not gonna say names, but we've got a 2-story garage that needs to come down. We're pushing that down the road. We're at the dead end road now, so it's gotta come down. And we've got another property on Lynn Street that, needs an awful lot of attention. And we've got court on that one on Wednesday also. Yep, things are going good. Any questions for me?
Brian?
Yeah, I would like to bring up the solar array project. Since we last met and between last week and today, I had emails with Tammy and with Jason that we're kind of discussing it back and forth on how to proceed. And it seems like at least among the three of us, we had a plan that we wanted to, or at least I wanted to throw out to you. I don't have a date in mind for a special meeting, but what I'd like to propose is the council do a special meeting on the solar array. Invite 2 of those solar companies. My thought would be Tri-City and Custom Builders. Coming into that meeting, I can send you the full RFP proposals from both firms. With a previous consultant, we worked out a financial model. In that Tri-City does better on more cash flow in the end and does better on less debt. But as it's been mentioned at the council meeting before, Custom Builders does have a local connection. And you might decide that and their proximity might outweigh some of the benefits that Tri-City might have. My thought would be, provide you what information you can ahead of time. Invite each to come in and maybe spend up to a half hour each. When one presents, the other one agrees to be outside the room.
The consultant won't be here, correct?
No,
Okay.
but, I wanna point out that I know how it went.
That was very unprofessional about both of them.
Well, I can limit him from being here. I don't want to eliminate him, because we need somebody. We need somebody that can be our representative and give us some guidance on, with his experience that I certainly don't have. So, yeah, that would be my thought. He doesn't have to be here, but still available when we need him. Anyway, that would be my proposal. I'd like to gather up the information that we would send out. Maybe do a survey of possible dates that might work. For example, maybe a non-council meeting Monday would work, just as an example. Other times you've used have been Wednesdays, but I was hoping that maybe a Monday would work best. Anyway, that's the thought I wanted to present, so that the council can decide if it wants to pursue one proposal or the other, or maybe you decide that you're not ready either way. But the goal that I've been trying to meet is the annual debt service. We would be doing a revenue bond based on the performance of the solar array. It wouldn't have any links to the general fund. It would be surviving on its own project. So the idea is what we save in not buying from our wholesale electrical supplier, or RPGI, is more than the annual debt we pay until it's paid off. In order to do that, we have to try to have annual debt payments that are in the range of, say, not more than $140,000 a year. In this model, if we can do that or better, we make something every year. And in the end, the total cash flow, if it plays out after 25 years, would see around $2 million that we would save in not buying an equal amount of energy from RPGI. Further, if we could make this one solar array work, we've got the area to the east that we might be able to make work too. So anyway, if the council is okay with the idea of a special meeting where we can sort this out, hear from these two developers, would you be okay if we work along those lines?
I'm okay. You said Tri-City and Custom?
Yes.
Okay.
And how,
That's my two top anyway.
how is the top two that we're gonna talk to determined? Like, how did we come up with those two?
Well, there were
First of
two
all,
of the top three.
Because at one point, we talked about having a breakdown of
Right.
different, and I guess I don't remember.
I think Tri-City was the one that was recommended by the consultant.
Yep.
And then I think Brian's just saying, let's just talk to
Custom
because they're local. And,
Yeah.
They have skin in the
there's
game.
something to be said about having somebody that you can knock on their door and say, hey, you're screwing up.
ECG.
Oh.
And they were
Was here
third, I
last
think,
time.
Yeah,
if I recall.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
But
Some number other than one.
Right.
Yeah, Custom Builders was in the top 4 of our choices.
Yeah.
The other guy, ECG, they were, ECG, they were like third or fourth, fifth one.
They were fifth.
I think we're fifth, yeah.
Yeah, I think Custom Builders were ahead of them, but
Yeah, and Custom Builders and Tri-City both in their proposals included the grading. And that was a concern of mine because in the other one that came from the audience last time, I don't know what ungraded looks like.
there was no grading at all involved.
Right, yeah. So Yeah, that would be the proposal that I would make, is to look at those two firms and see what they can present, tell you what their proposal includes for the money. And then you set forth the guidance on what we ought to do.
I can explain a lot more than what we were hearing the first time.
I think that you would have to go ahead and let them know that they need to put it in layman's terms.
Dumb it down for us.
Yeah, so everybody.
Oh, we have John here. You sit right up here with us.
In the whole 9 yards. I've worked with both of them before. I've worked with Tri-City and I've worked with Tim Dwight.
Yeah.
And both of them are equally good, so. But I think, yeah, like you said, we need to dumb it down for everyone, so everybody understands what they're offering and, so forth.
So is everybody okay with the plan of a
Sure.
special meeting
Yeah.
for that?
Thank you.
Anything else, Brian? Nope.
Motion.
I'm not done. I'm not done. I just have one very quick thing. I just wanted to mention, so I had taken my car to Wheelie's to get the oil changed, and as I was leaving, the other day, Mark Stulin came running out into the parking lot, and just wanted to pass on his thanks and appreciation to Linda Beck and Steve Nash for whatever issue they had, a few weeks ago. Between Linda and Steve, they were able to work them through that, and he just wanted to give that positive feedback for the two of them.
Gold stars for everyone.
No, just for those two.
Well, that's what I mean. For those two.
Now can I motion?
All right, now, if there's nothing else, you may motion to
Motion.
adjourn. All right, motion by Helm, seconded by Welker to adjourn.
Welker,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Cummins,
Yeah.
Bastian.
Yes.
All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you.